All right, we are here with the Professional Development Podcast. I got Matt, Dan, Brad, and Bobby.
Woo!
What's up, y'all?
What's up?
What's going on?
How's it going?
Great intro.
You like that?
Yeah.
Who introduced us though?
Oh boy,
I don't know who it was.
we got Colin quarterbacking today, so you might get a bunch of
75%
funky
of the weeks.
noises.
Yeah, funky ass noises.
Colin McNeil, Breeze Brady.
So today we wanted to talk about self-respect, and this is Dan's topic, Dan's favorite topic.
This is not my topic. This is Colin's topic. That's why he's quarterbacking today.
So the reason why self-respect has been in my mind a lot lately is because most of us did 75 hard here, went down that journey together. And for me, the biggest hurdle was how to fit everything into my schedule. And I started making excuses before we were kicking it off. And one of my workout partners, we got up in the morning and he was like, most of this stuff, if you're going to make a change in your life, most of this stuff comes down to self-respect. And one great place to earn self-respect for yourself is your morning workout or any time at the gym, lifting weights, doing something, bettering yourself. If you're not happy with the way you look, you are in full control and you can change it. Do you have enough self-respect for yourself to get up and go to the gym and make that time? So I've been kind of using that for every aspect of my life, just kind of asking myself, do I respect myself enough to not hit the snooze button and stay in bed and get up and do my routine, walk my dogs, do my push-up routine, do my stretches? And I don't know, it's just been really helping me out lately. That simple question is and then reading, trying to be smarter so I can have more conversations with people like Dan.
True.
Just little things, learning new things, just always working on yourself. That's kind of what kind of got me through and got me to the point that I was disqualified for playing golf in 75 hard, but it really helped me out.
Yeah.
So I guess my question for you guys is, and feel free to kick off, what do you think? I mean, do you think you guys do you think a lot of this does come down to self-respect?
Yeah. I'll dive in. So, for me, I think happiness and self-respect is earned. So I think that you have to go out, you have to keep promises to yourself in order to be happy, because you at the end of the day, you look in the mirror, did I do everything that I promised myself?
Yeah.
Did I have the discipline to get through the day and not say, yes to all the temptations that come up? Did I stick to my plan? Did I do all the things I said I was going to do? And if I did all those, then I feel pretty good. Yeah, I feel great, right? And so if you do that over and over and over again, I think that's where you start to develop the self-respect and you start to be a happier person, really, because you're sticking to what is going to make you a better person or the best version of yourself.
And you're actually going through those things with intent. You quit on 75 hard because you felt like you were checking off those boxes because you weren't doing anything with any intent. And you get to the end of those days when you feel busy but you didn't really accomplish anything and you just don't feel fulfilled. You guys have those days? Well,
I think the intent part comes with did I do this 100% or did I half-ass it? Because while everybody else viewing from the outside may say, oh, he's going to the gym every day or he's doing this, on the depths of your soul if you fucking did it 100% or if you didn't. And if you did and you left it all out there and you maxed out or whatever, you are going to be happy with yourself because you gave it your all. But if you know that you could have went a little bit harder or you could have done something that made you better and you chose not to do it purposefully, then you're going to feel like shit no matter how many motions you're going through.
Absolutely.
So that's my take on self-respect and happiness.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I love it. So I'll speak to this a little bit. So for me, as far as self-respect goes, I didn't have a ton for myself for a long time whenever I was just all sorts of fucked up and drinking every single day and not really sure what my purpose was. I wasn't doing anything with any intent.
Yeah.
But it was crazy, though, because I was still crushing it at my job. I was still hitting all my awards, having these huge years. And I lacked that completely. And obviously, we talked about this in last episodes, and I'm not going to dive into it, but had that desperation moment where something needed to change, and switch just flipped overnight. It had to. So I lacked that for a really long time. I still struggle with just like the positive self-talk. For me, getting up and going to the gym every day, I got there a lot later than I wanted to this morning, and I almost debated not going and then trying to get there this evening. And then I was like, no, I've been doing morning workouts. I have to stick to it. So I got up, got to the gym, and I actually moved one of my morning meetings so I could finish my workout. And I was like, I'm an hour behind where I usually would, but this will get me off to a good track for the rest of the day. And then I was able to accomplish everything else that I wanted to. It was my first domino. Whereas usually if something like that were to happen, I would have just gave up on the day. I would have said, I'm a failure. And I wouldn't have gone to work out that evening. I wouldn't have gone to work out.
You would have half-assed everything, basically.
Absolutely.
You know, and so like that's what I mean. Like first thing in the morning, you make that first decision to have enough respect for yourself to get up a little bit earlier and get to the gym, you know, and then work on yourself. So, yeah. I mean, and I think self-talk is one of the best ways to start, the best places to start, you know, start the way you talk about yourself. Like you hear a lot of these people who are like, oh man, I wish I could be that person to do it. You know, I wish I could be that person to start my own business. I wish I could be that person to quit my job and go do something that's going to give me some more fulfillment in my life. But like you can be that person. Like why do you talk about yourself like that? You know what I mean? Instead, like flip it and say, I am that person. This is what I am going to do. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think the idea of self-respect does go hand in hand with self-talk, right? Because I think, like Dan said, it's earned in the sense that like the more you do for yourself, and Colin, you hit on this as well. The more you do for yourself, the more you're going to respect yourself. The more you're going to feel good about yourself. And then the less you do, the less things that you commit on, that's when that imposter syndrome starts kicking in. So, like, the less things you do, even if things are still going in the right direction, but if you know in your heart of hearts, like, you're bailing on shit or you're half-assing shit, that's where the feelings start to come in of, like, okay, somebody's going to call me on my bullshit, right? Or I shouldn't be here, or I don't deserve this respect. And then the negative self starts talks, and that's when the downfall can happen. But we've talked about this a bunch of times, I'm a firm believer in affirmations. And just auditing the way that you talk to yourself, right? And like just an example, like Bobby, you and I were playing volleyball last night, and I fucked something up, and I literally said, "Cresco, you fucking idiot!" Like out loud, out loud.
I do that.
Yeah, but
say Cresco, you're a fucking idiot.
But it's interesting to like monitor that kind of stuff, because the more you talk to yourself that way, the more you will truly believe it. And just like in the opposite way. So I almost look at it as like a placebo effect. They talked about this study in this book, The Happiness Advantage by Sean Achor. And they were talking about this Japanese study where they took a group of participants that were highly allergic to poison ivy, right? And they blindfolded them, and they said, we're going to rub poison ivy. We're rubbing poison ivy on you right now, right? And it happened to be just some random shrub. Well, 90% of them broke out in a rash that looked like poison ivy, right? And then they did it again to another group that was allergic, and they were just like, and it was actually poison ivy. Yeah. Like, I don't think you could actually do that in America, but it was...
Yeah, you probably could.
Maybe it was the 40s.
Yeah. But it was actually poison ivy, and they were like, okay, so this is just the test one. This is just a random shrub. We're going to see how you react. And out of the 13 people that did it, only 2 of them actually broke out in those hives. So...
and those 2 people died.
And they, yes. But...
It did it for the study. For the better of humanity. Yeah.
It's very interesting to see what your brain can do for you, you know, like, and they, what do they call it? Expectancy theory, right? So our brain is organized to act upon future events just as much as things that have already happened. So basically, expecting an event, expecting to go to a workout, expecting to hit a goal or whatever that is, that fires off the same complex neurons in your brain as if you had just done that, as you have already done it. And it's just a way, you know, it's a little bit of motivation, right? But again, the way that you talk to yourself and communicate with yourself, a lot of times you don't realize that you're saying like, no, I can't do this. Or, shit, I'm going to come up with this excuse and not do it.
You don't realize how that can like slowly creep in and take over your whole life. You know what I mean? You can slowly start doing that day in, day out. You know what I mean? And that's a bad habit to develop. But it's an easy one. It happens to everybody.
Well, I know you love Mike Tyson, right?
Yeah.
So I watched a documentary on him, and it was super interesting. It was an older documentary. I think it was like in the mid-2000s it came out or something. It was on HBO one night, and And what was super interesting is the guy that took him under his wing.
Cus Diamato.
Yeah, so he took him in young, and every single day he would say thousands of positive affirmations.
Yeah.
And I know this isn't positive self-talk, but whenever you come from a situation where maybe you think because of your situation you can't get somewhere, or you have those excuses. I mean, literally everything. If he did something bad, he would say, "You're the best, you're the best, you're the best," and he just pounded that in Mike Tyson's head. And so slowly he started to believe it, and then he became, who he is today.
To the point to where he says now, like, he believes, like, he was hypnotized because he'd be yelling that at him so much while he was training, and he's like, I feel like I was hypnotized because when I showed up to the ring, every fight that he won, he was like, I believed I was a god. He's like, that's where my ego went.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've felt it, like, even on the golf course, you have your good days, when you feel like it's so interesting. So I'll show up to a local amateur event, right? And I started golf way later than all these guys. And so I'm hitting range balls next to like a couple of guys who I know are the best players in St. Louis on the amateur, right? And so I'm already putting like, I'm not as good as them in my head. And then I go out and I shoot.
You're lowering your standards.
I'll shoot like 75, 78, something like that. But whenever I travel.
Sick brag, bro.
That's not very good.
You suck at golf.
Whenever I travel, though, and when I play people, I have no idea who they are. My scores are at least 5 strokes better per
you're playing
round
against yourself.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so the one tournament that I won was a tournament where I didn't know anybody in the field, and then I've been in the final pairing of other tournaments I've traveled to. But anything local, for some reason, I have that mental barrier where I'm giving myself negative self-talk, and I am aware of that.
You're more focused on your opponent.
So that negative self-talk, obviously, it comes from whenever you knew the people, but whenever you didn't know these people, what was it like?
Well, then I went in like I'm gonna win.
You're like, I don't know these guys.
I know that I'm coming from out of town, and I'm the best fucking golfer here. Seriously, Right. And so it's just amazing what mindset can do. And Brad, I mean, you had to. What did you think? You won all these races.
Brad, I was going to say, Brad, you don't necessarily seem like the person that has to psych yourself up with self-talk.
You already know you're the fucking man.
I know you're more of just like, I'm just going to go do it. But talk to us a little bit about, like, are there times when you feel more and less respect for yourself?
So what I have kind of jotted down for, like, what I think of self-talk respect is, for me, I think of if I can take care of myself. If I can't take care of myself, I can't take care of others, which means I can't take care of my wife, my kids, my employees, my business. So it all kind of starts with me. So the buck stops with me is how I feel. But I'm also a very confident person.
Shut up, seriously.
Yeah. I told you guys, like, I thought it'd be cool to have a topic on confidence versus cocky, because I think that's interesting, because there's a clear difference between being confident and cocky. You can be cocky if you back it up, but if you can't, there's nothing you can do about it. You're a poser or imposter, whatever you want to call it. So I've always, when I was racing, when I rolled into a track, I the same mindset that Dan had. I'm the best fucking guy here. Everybody else is racing for second. So I've just always kind of had that the whole time, and it was the same thing as golf. When I'm sitting in a car, I'm the only person in charge. Just like golf, you're the only one hitting that fucking ball. And just like in business, you're the only one that really gets to make that decision at the stage we are at right now. We don't have a group of people underneath us working, hey, what should we do? So I thought a lot about it, of how does it play back to everything else I do. So it's good to talk to yourself and be confident with it and have the respect that you've accomplished something. But if you can't instill that in, like, your wife or your employees, what's it really matter? Because you got to build out farther than yourself.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know. Yeah. No, that's absolutely perfect. So, like, you can't, just like people say, like, you can't love anybody until you love yourself. You can't respect anybody else until you respect yourself. And a lot of that is, like, you have to, like, earn that respect with others too. You know what I mean? Don't hang out with people who are going to disrespect you. So.
Because I even had extreme leadership wrote down as self-respect, just because you are the leader. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. So all that's good stuff. I kind of want to flip it around, though, because I have both positive self-talk and I don't even want to call it negative self-talk, but it's more pushing myself talk, I guess you could say. So, like, there's some areas where I think that that I'm fucking good, right? Like, you know this. Like, when we met and I had business ideas and I was like, dude, I want to be like fucking Zuckerberg or like who I compare myself.
Zuckerberg. You don't want to be like him.
Well, exactly. You know what I mean? So like in some mindsets, I'm there, right? Like I literally see myself as, you know, where everybody else listening can roll their eyes, whatever. I don't fucking care. But I see myself up as like an entrepreneur and a visionary or whatever. But then there's also times where Matt knows this. I'm hard on myself where I can't even go and talk. I can barely talk to you four guys, you know? But sometimes I use that as a way to push myself too. So like, even if things are good, I'm telling myself, you're fucking up, or you can do better. Like, I'm always telling myself I can do better because I do feel like I'm behind where my goals were or what I want to be every week.
It's never usually mine.
It's always
usually this one.
Anyways, so I just haven't hit where I thought I would be, and I'm sure a lot of us are in that same boat. And so I use that to push myself sometimes too, and maybe that's negative self-talk. I don't know how to define it, but I don't know if you guys have run into that.
You also took like the first step that most people fail to ever take by starting your own business and being an entrepreneur. Most people don't ever get past that talk. Like, oh, I can't do it. Like Colin was saying earlier, like, oh, I wish I could do that, but I just can't.
Yeah. Well, and kind of going off what you say, and I think a lot of people, what they don't realize is like when somebody takes a leap, right? Because you fall at some point, right? It's not this fucking linear path to success. But and I've been this way too, where it's like I've taken a leap, I've done something, and I've like shit the bed at it my first time, but I knew I had to go back, so it was just like it was that embarrassment, it was that like that just low self-esteem feeling that motivated me to be like, okay, I'm going to put in the time and effort to figure out what I need to do to not look like a fucking idiot the next time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like a back against the wall mentality.
Yeah.
Right? Like what, you know, like I want to get away from this wall, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to push off and fucking figure it out, right?
So that's exactly what. So it doesn't sound. It sounds like it's not negative self-talk at all. It's just a matter of you're recognizing and you're aware of that you could do more, and then you figure out what the fuck you need to do. It's not necessarily even like a ton of positive self-talk either, but like you find it as you go through it. So it's a journey. It's not just like because the positive affirmations are great, just being able to tell yourself, hey, like, I'm going to accomplish this today, I'm going to do this, I am financially comfortable, I am all these different things that you want to say to yourself to help you get there. So for you, Dan, I guess you found yourself to get yourself in situations where, hey, I need to be better, and then you just found a fucking way.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I'm so far behind where I wanted to be that saying that kind of stuff like gets me fired up and keeps that internal thermometer going, I guess.
So to me, in kind of, and I know we might be venturing off a little bit on the topic, but in starting anything, or whenever somebody thinks about starting something, like before you guys did the 75 hard deal, right? I'm sure you guys thought about, like, in a sense, like, hey, I need to do something. Like, I need to be a little bit more active. Like, nothing crazy, but, like, I need to get on some type of regimen or whatever, right?
I thought about it at the beginning of COVID whenever I was still drinking every single day.
Right.
And I realized that, and then I said to myself, I can't do this because I cannot stop drinking every single day.
Well, yeah, and that can obviously hinder that, right? when you're hungover every day.
Well, and that's negative self-talk.
Yep. Yeah,
sure.
Exactly. So, like, whatever it is, whenever you start, like, when you start, it's you're walking into a room with all the lights off with no idea where the light switch is. And I think I might have used this analogy before, but it's getting past that initial phase to almost to the point where it's like your eyes start adjusting to the dark so you can see a little bit, right? And I hope that makes sense, but it's like just an example. Like, I'm looking at properties right now. I'm looking to potentially do an investment property. Never in my life did I never wanted to own a house. Like, I never wanted the hassle of it. I never wanted anything, but I wanted to look in different ways that I could, like, diversify my income. And so I was just like, and it seems like too fucking much. Like, there's too much out there. There's like, I don't understand what, the real estate market, yada, yada, yada. But all of a sudden I started doing a little bit of research. All of a sudden I found a guy who was an incredibly smart real estate agent. All of a sudden I talked to two friends that I knew that did it. And then before you knew it, I'm like listening to podcasts, and I'm like, and obviously I'm still in the early stages of it, but just getting past that inertia of whatever it is, like getting past that initial blockage of like, I can't do this, like once you get that ball rolling, I feel like every single one of us have a similar mindset. It's like once you start 75 hard, it's like, okay, I'm here. I'm fucking doing this.
Yeah, and I actually, your analogy was perfect. I did listen to that Ryan Mishler today, and he said the same thing about walking into a room that was dark, and you just start to see, and then you flip the lights on, and your eyes are like, holy fuck, I can't see anything.
Right.
It's like that initial shock. So I thought that was interesting that I just listened to that. But yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. Like, you put yourself in a situation that's brand new. Like, when I started my business, it was almost out of necessity at the time. I lost everything that I knew I was doing, and I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do to make money? And that's what it was. So, I mean, it was kind of like Dan said, you was backed up against the wall. What do you do? And just got after it.
That was after your injury?
That was after I got hurt. And I was like, well, I'm not driving race cars anymore. So
Yeah. And all this stuff builds up, like, again, different levels of it, but self-respect, right? Like, it's your level. Self-respect is essentially, to me, like your level of competency that you feel in any given area of your life. Right? So whether it's real estate or whether it's starting your own business or insurance or golf or whatever the fuck it is, it's like you're what you feel like the world sees you are, essentially. That's your level of self-respect. So, again, once you kind of get the ball rolling, once you put in the work, right? It's the whole magnifying glass thing. You're not going to start a fire by constantly moving a magnifying glass around with the sun. You got to keep concentrated on one point, and then eventually,
Go through the process.
You're fucking killing whole
Is
hills of ants.
Does anybody else love all Matt's
You are
analogies?
honest.
Yeah, lots of analogies.
My God,
What?
do you have a book of analogies?
Yeah. I
It's
try to
honest.
read about 10 to 15 before I
When
come
you
in every
started
week
going
just to see what I can
when you
spit
started going
off.
through the one in the dark, I was like, what the where did this come from?
No, yeah, it's good. It's good.
Oh, I didn't come up with any of these. Yeah, obviously. These are all regurgitated.
At least you had the self-respect to admit it.
But and so I guess the last thing is we're talking a lot about, people come up with the excuses on why they can't do something or whatever. And like Matt and I, we work closely together. We both have this like mental barrier on invoicing or doing admin stuff.
I'm
and
the
it's just,
same way.
it's the little thing.
Fucking
And
awful.
that's what
Which
gets
is the
us,
worst, right?
that's what gets us
Trying to get paid. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
You
it's
do all
like
the hard stuff, close the deal, and you got to just
and so the
Collect
admin
the
sometimes piles up, but like sometimes it's just the execution of doing the hard things or the shit that you don't want to do that makes the rest of your life easier, and you can start building that self-respect. Just like you almost went to the gym and almost didn't go because you were an hour late or whatever, but you did what was required, so you can move on with your day and you feel a lot better about it. And I think that's with all the way from admin work to starting your own business to trying to lose weight to going on the right path, whatever it might be, whatever development in your personal life you want to do. I think it all starts with just those little executions of things that you really don't want to do or that you're putting up these false barriers on. So
yeah.
Cool.
I had something that I wanted to mention about. You were talking earlier just about like that positive versus negative self-talk. I'm sure you guys have seen this before, where they have the two identical plants that are potted in the same soil and have the same controlled environments, and they have one that's pumping in positive self-talk and one that's pumping in like really negative self-talk, like you're the worst plant that's ever been potted.
you're so
and
stupid, plant.
I actually have heard that. Yeah.
And the one that was receiving all that positive self-talk lived, and there was no problem. That one that had the negative self-talk died in like days or something like that. And it just like, it's very weird, and that's a very like earthy, hippie kind of thing to think about. But it's real, man. Like plants are living organisms, right? And like I don't know how much they can sense. I don't know shit about that. I'm not a botanist.
Even with humans, that happens. So like if they did a study with babies where the ones who were held and like loved for the first 2 weeks of their lives.
I thought you were going to say like they took some babies and just talked mad shit to some of them growing up.
You're the stupidest baby.
for years.
No, but and the baby ended up the ones that were loved and were held and like taken care of, they lived, and the ones that all they did was feed them and they didn't.
What the fuck kind of study is that?
I'm gonna have to find.
I hope this was another one back.
I'm gonna have to find the study.
Dear
just because
Lord. Dude,
you found
that
that
is
shit on
pretty
the
far
dark web.
fetched.
This
is pretty far-fetched.
I'm pretty sure I just made that up.
Yeah, Dan made it up.
I did not.
But to your point,
No. It's like the third Google search. Go ahead, keep going. To my point.
You're good. So to your point, though, that it just goes to show what that can do to someone. And I read an article today just about this because I looked up just things about affirmations. That's the first thing I thought of whenever we talked about self-respect, self-talk, self-care, is making sure that you're feeding yourself with that positive information or positive mindset, reinforcement. Yeah, thank you. And it's so easy to do that for other people. It's really easy. Like Cresco, you said yesterday, like whenever we were playing volleyball, and you said, "Cresco, you fucking idiot," or something like that. And like, I don't remember if I did this or not, but I'm sure I picked you up and I said, "Dude, you're fucking fine. Like, let's get one pass and let's go."
Yep.
Why is that?
And
do you think,
dude? But I did the same thing probably multiple times yesterday, where I was just like, "God, that was so fucking terrible, Bob."
Yeah.
Like, and it was just pissed off at myself. And instead of just having that error, moving on quickly and saying like, "Cresco, I'm gonna get you a good pass right fucking now. If this ball comes to me, I'm getting it to you. It's my seam." Blah blah blah.
Yep.
And if we can train ourselves, because we can do that easily for you. I can do that as your partner in volleyball. You can do that to your employees.
Yep.
You can do that to random strangers on the street, like whoever, just to try and make people feel good about each other. And we forget to do it for ourselves all the time. It's the hardest for us to do.
We're the last people we think about when considering like who we need to be talking nice to and who we need to be treating well. Right?
Sure.
Yeah. And it kind of goes off of, we've talked about this on podcasts before, but it's like when you fall into the negative self-talk, it's a cop-out, right? It's a cop-out, and you feel like you're doing something every time that you complain, just like the book, the No Complaint Challenge. Yeah. Every time you complain, you feel like you're doing something about it instead of having like a relentless solution focus. So something goes wrong, okay, what can I do better next time? Kind of like, Bobby, what you were saying in volleyball, but with anything. It's, okay, instead of fucking when I fuck up, think about, instead of fucking...
Pause very badly.
Order in the court.
Yeah, but instead of fucking up and then talking negatively to ourselves automatically, it's okay, what can I do better? Like, have you ever thought about that? Like, have you ever thought about when you do something wrong, actually thinking to yourself, what can I do better? Or like grabbing out your phone and being like,
I
writing
always
down.
do that.
I do.
That's very important.
That's all I do.
Really?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I'll be vulnerable and
you're
say,
fucking next level.
I mean, like every time, like, how do I not do this again? What can I do better on the next one? How can I get 1% better? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's always
that's
the
how I
process.
think about it too. I mean, I definitely do tell myself I'm a horrible human being first, and then think, what can I do to make this better? Like, I could not have somebody do the Mike Tyson thing with me. That would be so irritating.
I cannot.
Like,
I can't.
What do you mean?
Take,
it's fucked up. I'm still
I would
the best.
shower in that shit all day. I'd be like, fuck yeah, I am the fucking best.
I actually don't like when people give me credit.
Compliments?
I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
For our listeners, because like we have a lot of people that are maybe want to start their own business, maybe do have their own business, or maybe they don't care about starting their own business, but they like listening to the banter and they maybe take a golden nugget out of this.
Maybe they're just trying to get out of a rut.
For sure.
So
it might just be something minor like that. Just having those small, because not everyone's going to be at that point where they are able to take in that information and then be able to say like, all right, cool, how do I get better? So for those people that are listening and are wanting to get better, I think it just starts with that mindfulness and that self-awareness of every time that you have that moment, whether you have like a band on your wrist that you snap yourself with, and you get into some sort of routine where it's like, all right, I just had a negative thought, or I was talking to myself negatively. Now, what do I need to do to change that? How can I pick myself back up? Because a lot of people won't do that.
Yep.
And for like Dan and Brad, like you're like, well, yeah, that's natural. Like, and you guys have been running your businesses for a while, where like your mode is to figure out like the next solution. Not everyone's in that. A lot of us are still in those early stages of it.
Yeah.
And it just starts with that first fucking step to say, what can I do now to make it better?
And if I think back, like I probably was hard on myself, or made excuses. I think it's almost a survival thing. At some point, you get to where you're like, well, this is my only option, so I have to figure out how to do better on the next one, or what, you know what I mean? Like, and so maybe that's where the thought process started to kind of like bind in my mind, is like everything I did, I had to get better at, because it was literally just all on me. Like, you know,
if you didn't do better, you might not have another chance.
Right? Yeah. So like, maybe that's where that came from.
Did you ever feel like, because I'm sure all of us at some point have blamed like someone else. I know I have, but have you guys ever felt that way where like, or we see it all the time right now, even like with what's going on, like we're going to find out today or tomorrow what happens, right? There's going to be people that make excuses based on who the fuck is elected.
Oh, there will
I
be.
posted about it this morning, and it's like, I don't know if you guys saw that. I know, Cresco, you saw it. But those people who are making those excuses, whether it's who their president is or like who their friend is who's doing some bullshit to them, or if they're in a relationship, they let that affect them rather than make the decision to go out and fix it them fucking selves.
Yeah, what did it say? No matter if Trump is your president, if Trump's your president or Biden's your president, your problems are going to still be your own problems at the end of the day tomorrow.
They're your own fault.
They're your own fault.
And it's up to you to fix them.
It's like Matt said, that it's so easy to cop out. You know, like that's an easy cop out. So and so did this to me, and that's why I'm in this situation. You know, like it's a lot harder to face yourself and look yourself in the mirror and raise your standards.
Absolutely. Great timing, because Emily Frisella last week, we talked to her about being a woman in the workplace and trying to be a woman entrepreneur, and how that can hold some people back, and there can be barriers and there can be obstacles. And she was like, yeah, but I didn't give a fuck. She was like, I just knew I was going to work harder than them, and I was going to end up figuring it out.
Yeah, and so, you know, when you start pointing the finger at other people, like, so I launched an app, and I just never had time to really dedicate to it, so we shut it down probably a month ago now. But when I launched it, I never thought, like, I can't do it because of the competitors that are way bigger than me. In fact, I didn't even look at their platforms. I just wanted to focus on my shit, not worry about all the competitors and what they were doing. And I think you can do that with any business, plumbing, whatever. Even, you know, with insurance, right? Like, you guys have a different approach probably than each other, but you don't worry about what each other's doing. You can talk about it and you can get better from each other. But at the end of the day, like, all you can do is focus on your shit and how you're doing it. And that's why it's hard for me to point my finger at somebody else and say, like, that's the reason why I'm not doing good, because I'm just trying to focus on my shit. And even one of my local competitors, like, maybe he pointed the finger at me. I don't know, but he's blocked me. He won't talk to me. Matt knows this, you know, and am I the reason
jealous.
why he's, well, I just think that at some point you just have to, like, say, hey, and one of the things that I do, and maybe I'm getting off topic, my competitors, my clients buy from different sales styles, right? So there's 8,000 mortgage companies out there. Some of them are going to buy from me because they like my approach. Some are going to buy from him because they like his approach. You know, there's different culture matches, right? And so I can't point at him and be like, he's taking all my business. It's just, they're a better match for each other, you know? And so sometimes you got to find that silver lining on, like, it's okay for them to have that, or it's okay for them to win this one, you know? And so that way I can just focus on my shit. So that's the way I kind of look at it.
Yep.
So I'm going to, hold on. I brought up dead babies. So I just want to clarify. Okay? This is real, all right? Touch is even more vital. Let's see. Babies who are not held, nuzzled, and hugged enough can stop growing, and if the situation lasts long enough, even die. So researchers, so it wasn't like a study like I said it was, so I was wrong there.
Okay, good.
But researchers discovered that this was a problem. If babies aren't hugged or loved or whatever, they end up dying because they didn't know why orphanage had infant mortality rates at 30 and 40%. And this is how they found out that if they're not hugged or nuzzled or whatever the fuck this thing says, they die. And the ones that are loved grow, right? And so to the plant point, to the self-talk, you got to show love to yourself when you can, and you got to celebrate those little wins, maybe internally.
Yeah.
And you'll fucking grow.
Fuck yeah. Dan, were you?
I can't believe
Were you
there was
not
really
hugged
study.
enough? Is that why you stopped growing?
Stop growing up.
Yeah. Dan.
Aw, Dan.
Grew out.
I'm a grower, not a shower. So
Congratulations.
Congrats on the sex.
all right, whatever. Matt got me. I have nothing to say there
All right. So
other than his hair can't grow.
good note to end on. Any? Yeah. That's true. It can't grow.
I'm short.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I would say let's defer to Colin for a kind of wrap a bow on this stuff here, because I think this was an awesome.
Yeah, tell them
awesome
about our
topic
social
here.
and what they should do.
Share it. Smash that like button. Subscribe.
Resubscribe.
Resubscribe. Share it again.
Unsubscribe
Your
and
grandma to
resubscribe.
share that shit.
Download 3 times.
But yeah, moral of the story is have enough self-respect to raise your standards, and you'll go far in life. So, anybody got any quotes?
No, I don't have one
No.
this week.
You usually have one.
Yeah.
You always have one.
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts again lately, but just because while I'm working, I've got the earphones in. But that's it.
Cool.
All right.
No. Dan?
No, man, I think
got
this was
one.
a great topic.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, you give us
Shit.
the quote. Let's go.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Love it.
Who's it by?
I don't know. Just found it
Feel
on
the
Google.
fear and do it anyway. Love it.
So you got nobody on that.
Nobody said that.
It was a Colin
It didn't say anything at the bottom.
Yeah, you might.
Callan was up
At that
last
point, you
night.
might
He's
as well
like,
say like that's
feel the
me,
fear.
dude.
Nah, man. I have enough
You missed
self-respect to
100%
admit it's
of
not
the shots
me.
you don't take.
he got
Wayne Gretzky,
yeah.
Michael Scott.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
All right.
Deuces.